After hiring over 100 people, I've figured out what separates great hires from absolute disasters, and it has nothing to do with their resume. These are the 4 things that actually predict if somebody is going to work out, and if you're a business owner who needs to hire, you need to pay attention to these. Most people hire based on credentials. They look at the resume, check the experience, maybe verify a reference or 2, and then they're shocked when that person turns out to be a terrible hire. Here's why. People lie. They embellish their experience, they claim skills that they don't have, and you're making a decision based on a piece of paper that could be 50% fiction. What actually works? The first and most important thing, and this might sound a little too simple, is if you catch a vibe. You need to know how to read people as a business owner, and you definitely need to know how to read people when you're interviewing. Do you get a good vibe from someone? Do they have good energy? Do they show up on time? Do you just generally feel like they'll work out? If yes, they probably will. Now, you still need to be objective here. Don't be so excited that you're optimistic about anyone that walks through the door. But if you can remain calm and catch a good vibe, that is the best sign that you can get. And if you're bad at that skill, get better at it. Because I can get on a meeting with someone, feel them out within a couple of minutes, and I know if it's going to be a good relationship. This is just simple pattern recognition. After more and more hires, you start to see the patterns. The people who worked out had a certain energy. The people who didn't had a different energy. So I don't expect you to be able to master this immediately, but keep track and sharpen the skill above all others. Here's what I'm looking for in the vibe check. Energy level. Are they engaged? Are they present, or are they half asleep on the call? Enthusiasm is the key here. Then eye contact. Now, I know it's probably a video interview, but you get the point. Are they looking at the camera, or are they distracted, looking around, checking their phone? Also, little note here, if it is a virtual interview, never do audio only. You can get a lot by being visually present with someone. Next, tone of voice. Do they sound confident and capable when answering questions and talking about the responsibilities that they will have to fulfill for this opportunity? Or do they sound like they're just going through the motions? You're looking for the equivalent of a seasoned athlete before a sports game. Either they're excited or they're ice cold. Different demeanors, but both are very effective. Confidence is key. Then there's punctuality. Did they show up on time, or did they show up late? If they did show up late, did they handle that situation well? Address it, apologize, and then move forward. And then lastly, are they cool? Is this person someone that you wouldn't mind hanging out with? Not that they have to be your exact type of person, but they need to be a joy to be around. These are signals, and you need to pay attention to them. However, one note that will save you greatly: do not confuse charisma for competence. This is the hardest part of the vibe check. Charisma can be very valuable, but it needs to be checked. Charisma can be extremely valuable, but it does need to be checked by the second point I'm going to go through now. And just because someone may be quiet does not mean they lack energy or excitement. You need to understand different types of people. The quiet ones can sometimes be the best. So, to help you fully understand the importance of this first point, if someone shows up 10 minutes late to the interview with no apology and no heads up, how do you think they're going to show up to work? If they can't maintain energy and engagement for a 30-minute interview, how are they going to perform on a 40-hour week? The vibe check eliminates more bad hires than any resume screen ever will. Second thing, and this actually gets you to figure out if they're going to do a good job, is to give an example scenario. Ask this: if you were working and this problem occurred, or this situation happened, what would you do? And then just see what they say. They don't need that much information. The answer could literally just be that they would ask a manager, and that might be the best answer for the scenario. And that's totally fine. Now, if you are hiring for a role that requires a niche understanding of something, ask them about that precise thing, but in scenario format. If you know they need to use a specific type of software, ask how they use that software. But you want to see, are they going to be a deer in the headlights? Are they going to freeze up? Are they not going to know what to do? Or are they actually going to think through the problem? This is where you get the actual information about their experience, because the experience as a point on a resume does not matter. What matters is if that experience has prepared them to handle necessary situations going forward. If they can't handle simulated problems in an interview, then they definitely can't handle real problems on the job. This will tell you more about how they think than any tell me about a time when behavioral question ever will. I've had people with incredible resumes completely bomb this question. Just total blank stares, no critical thinking, no problem solving. And then I've had people with average resumes absolutely nail it. They walk me through the exact thought process, they ask clarifying questions, they propose solutions. Guess which one I hired? Now, the third thing you need to look for in an interview is how excited they are about the pay. And this one might sound counterintuitive, but hear me out. The more excited they are about how much you're going to pay them, the more incentivized they are to keep the job and to do a good job for you. Most hiring advice tells you to find someone who's not motivated by money or who's passionate about the mission. That's nonsense. If you have a super high-skilled person, but they feel they're getting underpaid, they're not going to do a good job. They're not going to work super hard. They're not going to care if you fire them. You may think that people that want more money and are therefore less excited about the pay as somebody else are worth more because the market values them higher. And that may be true, but hiring is a game of arbitrage like anything else in business. So you aren't looking for who the market values the most. You're looking for the best value for the cost. Even if they are less skilled, I'd rather have somebody that is lower skilled, but is trying really hard to learn, advance, and do a fantastic job. Why? Because they're invested. They care. They need this opportunity and are willing to do what it takes to keep it. Firstly, if I hire someone from a hiring platform where they're already listing their rate, then the question is, am I giving them their requested rate or am I negotiating them down right away? I always prefer to give them what they're asking for. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't interview people who you would have to negotiate them down, because that does happen in many circumstances. But if you're able to give them the rate they're requesting, you know that they're going to be very happy about it. It's a great way to just start off on the right foot, giving them the value that they wish to have, and you just should expect to get that value in return. Now, you should take notice of their emotion when you tell them the amount you're going to pay. Do they light up? Or do they look disappointed? This is especially important if you don't know what their rate is. Now, this doesn't really have to do with the interview itself, but you should never really interview someone that has no idea what the pay is. There should at least be small, subtle hints as to the range that they're going to get paid. So when you do drop the price that you're going to pay them, it's not a huge surprise. But deeper than that, do they have a reason why they want to make money? I've seen parents be really amazing team members because they have a desire to feed their family, to put a roof over their head. A parent who's trying to provide a good life for their kids is going to work super hard. Another is people who have a boyfriend or girlfriend and they want to get their finances in order before getting married. It doesn't have to be just something like this, but you have to have people that have a reason they want to get paid and they appreciate the amount that they are getting paid. If someone's just casually like, yeah, that works, with no emotion, they're probably going to be just as casual about keeping the job. One thing to watch out for, though, is humility. The arrogant people often get shiny object syndrome and will leave you very easily. You want someone humble and loyal. The combination of humility and ambition makes for an amazing hire. Here's how to test that in an interview. When you mention the pay, watch their face. Watch their body language. Do they sit up? Do they smile? Do they say, that's great, with genuine excitement? Or do they have a look of disappointment? Do they question it with a concerned tone? Ask them, what are you looking to accomplish with this income? See if they have an answer. See if they have goals. We want people with goals and reasons to do great work and maintain a good job. Now, fourth thing you're looking for in the interview process, and this one isn't really required, but it can be a really great sign, is if they are passionate. And it doesn't even have to be about work exactly. You want to see if they're excited about life, if they're passionate about anything. Maybe that's advancing in their career. Maybe they want to learn more skills within the industry, within the niche, within their skill set to advance. If they are really passionate about improving their skill set within the role, you may have just hit an absolute home run. However, their passion does not need to specifically be about work for you to benefit from this. Firstly, to see if they really have a passion for their role, ask them what skills they wish to gain or knowledge they wish to learn within this role. If they have a plan about the next steps in their career development and they're enthusiastic to grow, that is a phenomenal sign. Outside of work, ask them about their passions. Some people don't like opening up with that kind of question. So you can also frame it as, how do you like to spend your time outside of work? If they're really into painting, for example, and they do that a lot, and they're just really excited to build and grow in that skill, they can generally take that energy and then put it towards other things, such as the role you're hiring for. You're looking for passion and excitement for life, for the things that they do on a day-to-day basis. If they don't have that, then they're probably not going to bring much passion to the workplace, which means you're always going to be fighting an uphill battle at working with them. You're going to have a low energy, disengaged employee who just clocks in and clocks out. Passionate people, even if their passion is completely unrelated to the job, bring energy, and energy is contagious in a workplace. So, with all that being said, let me summarize what actually matters when you're hiring. 1, the vibe check. Do they instill confidence in you? Do they feel dependable? Can you see yourself relying on this person? 2, the scenario test. Can they think through a problem on the spot, or do they freeze? 3, excitement about pay. Do they actually want this job? Do they have a reason they need to succeed? 4, passion. Do they have energy and excitement for life, or are they just going through the motions? These 4 things will tell you more about if somebody is going to be a good hire than any resume, degree, or reference check. Now, you should definitely ask the normal best interview questions that you'll find on some best interview questions YouTube video. Tell me about a time when, what's your biggest weakness, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Definitely ask those. Check those boxes off. But realistically, those do not matter as much as the things that I just broke down. So here's what I want you to do. Next time you interview someone, forget about the resume for a minute. Focus on these 4 things: vibe check, scenario test, excitement about pay, passion for something. Score them on each one. And if they don't score very well on at least 3 out of the 4, do not hire them. I don't care how good their resume looks. Try these on your next interview and let me know how it goes. Drop a comment and tell me which one of these 4 things you think matters the most. And if you're hiring right now and you've been making bad hires, this is probably why. You've just been looking at the wrong signals. Start looking at these 4 and watch your hiring success rate go through the roof. Subscribe if you want more content on building and running a business without BS. I'm Ted McCall, and I will see you in the next video.